Recent school shooting in Texas has lawmakers in Pennsylvania taking school building safety.
That's right. It's not a new conversation in Harrisburg, and money has been spent to fix the problem. But some lawmakers want tweaks, saying some schools aren't appropriately spending that cash. Columbine didn't do it. Neither did Sandy Hook. But after Parkland, PA lawmakers approved a $60 million grant program to harden school buildings and protect kids. Mike Regan was a driving force behind it. Here's how he described it then.
That money needs to be spent the most efficient and practical way, with an eye from the experts on this is how you should spend your money.
A few years and $300 million later, here's what he thinks of it now.
And I think what we got was a half a loaf. Because, at the end of the day, you may be separated by a county line, your school district, but one school can be a lot safer than others.
Because of local control, schools could decide for themselves how to spend the money. Did they all get safer?
Some clearly have and some clearly have not.
Frustrating.
Frustrating, yes, very.
Some schools spent cash on cameras.
That's not going to stop something from happening. It's going to document it.
There are some folks that don't want armed police in the buildings. I understand, but I don't agree with it.
Jim Brewster is Regan's Democratic counterpart on the Law and Justice Committee and says some school leaders resist a law and order approach.
But they don't want to traumatize the kids. They don't want to have officers walking around with weapons on them.
Brewster and Regan now want every school to have baseline security requirements, including hardened entrances and armed and trained officers.
The idea would be that the gunfight takes place in the doorway, not inside, because you have armed good guys who will confront anyone who is a problem before they get in the building.
What happened? Where's the shooter?
Brewster wants every school to do an active shooter drill every year with local police. What's the training requirement now?
As best as we can find out, it's 3 hours once every 5 years.
Not enough, he says. Also, not enough counseling to defuse situations before they escalate. And not enough use of available tools like social media. That was a problem in Uvalde.
When someone goes out and says, I'm going to shoot my grandmother, and 5 minutes later goes out and says, I shot my grandmother, and then 5 minutes later goes out and says, I'm going to a school, that system should be able to contact local authorities immediately.
Regan and Brewster are working to get more cash in the budget to pay for it, but they want security experts to determine how it's best spent, not superintendents or school boards.
Someone needs to step in and say, I appreciate I'm sure you're well-meaning, but that's not the right decision. A proper utilization of state funding is for you to do this, this, and this to make your school safer.
Brewster knows educators want to teach, not prepare for mass shootings, but says schools can no longer ignore the painful lessons of previous tragedies.
It's nice to be a nice person, but it's even better to be nice and cautious and prepared.
The schools have to apply for grants, and the money is steered through the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. The PA School Boards Association declined to comment for this story.